Welcome to the November 29th meeting of the Rotary Club in South Jacksonville. It's a great day to be a member of Rotary. We ask that you silence your phone and conversations, and if you are attending on Zoom, we welcome you also and ask that you mute yourself. My thanks to Lisa Marie Winslow. Come on in, Warren. Come on. My thanks to Lisa Marie Winslow for welcoming our guests today, and I'd like to invite Dickens Grange up for pledge and prayer.
Please join me in prayer. Our God, we thank you for enabling us to provide service to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace, and for allowing us to meet and share fellowship and bread with one another. Help us to be responsive to the needs of our local and global communities and be ever mindful of our four-way test and Rotary's 4 areas of focus. We thank you for sharing the abundance of your world as we enjoy our daily successes and the food we are enjoying today. May this food be used to the nourishment of our body and us to thy service. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Deacons. And I'm sorry, I forgot to move the flag back here. We're moving everything around today. And I'd like to recognize Brother Patrick to come up to introduce our guests and visiting Rotarians.
Okay, I'm not aware of any visiting Rotarians today. Is there a visiting Rotarian? No. And it looks like we only have one guest. I believe Tamara Baker has a guest.
Hi, I have a guest. This is Mr. Roger Myrick. He's the owner of AE Engineering, and they do civil engineering, inspection services, and material testing here in Jacksonville and throughout the state of Florida.
Did we miss anyone? Okay, well, come on, Maestro.
I listen to you introduce him.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to avoid a big electric fire protector.
Welcome you today. So glad you came along, glad you came our way. Our hand of fellowship is yours, sunshine or in rain. Be here in Rotary, say welcome, come again.
Thank you, Maestro. Katie, we will need to get you the words to that song for a special occasion sometime in the near future. How about that? Be interested to see it done professionally. All right. Couple of special announcements. Just as a reminder that our annual Salvation Army bell ringing day is this Friday, December 2nd at the Publix at University Boulevard in St. Augustine Road. It looks like we've got all of the times kind of thinly covered. We could use a little help. I know Casey is opening up at the early slot, and I think we've got the last slot filled, but probably could use some help. But this is a great time for y'all. Feel free to come on out or sign up and triple up for the bell ringing. It's a lot of fun. I did it with John Pope last year. Got to know John real well. And it's a good time to sign up with somebody that you don't know well. Because as you're passing the time, learn about you. All right, so if you haven't signed up yet and would like to participate, please just sign up on the sheet on the table. Another special announcement about our holiday gathering. Robert and Paula Harris have graciously extended an invitation to their home again for lunch on December 13th. That's 2 weeks from the date. Please be sure to RSVP through DACDB or to Patty directly, so Robert has an idea of how many people to host. And once again, we want to thank him so much for his hospitality. Robert?
And just to note, if you can, try to park on the same side as the house, because if you park on both sides, the cars can't get through, and then the rest of me at night.
I will remember a day or so beforehand to send out an email about that reminder. That'd be great. And in conjunction with that, let me recognize Bob Massey to talk about the 2022 holiday toy drive.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know how many years we've been soliciting our members to bring toys to Robert and Paula's house. Thanks again, Robert. What a wonderful occasion for this club to get together at your home. But yeah, we've been bringing toys to support Daniel kids, kids aged from 2 to 20. And so all kinds of items that they would love to have. So please, as we have been doing, bring a new item, bring 2 or 3, bring as many as you like. Boy or girl, any age that you prefer, toys, video games, gift cards, I mean, athletic things, just nothing that's mature or violent. Use your own imagination. And so, but not wrapped. It can be in a gift bag, but not wrapped. It doesn't have to be in a gift bag. It's easy. This year, we have 2 other means of contributing to this event. If you don't want to bring a toy, then you could get on your favorite retail website and ship it directly to Daniel Kids. You will find on your table the address for Daniel Kids. Of course, everybody can look it up. But we've got 2 flyers on the table. One is kind of instructional, and the other is a holiday presentation that was given to me by Daniel Kids. Both have a lot of good information on them. Feel free to take them with you. And the third way to contribute is that today may be the day to do it, because I understand that Jesse DuPont Foundation is matching triple today. Today is Giving Tuesday, apparently. And so you can go online. The website is listed there on one of those sheets. Also, you can link to that website via the email you would have received that contained the gear. So please, one way or the other, you got 3 different ways to do this. Let's all try to participate and make those kids' holiday season very special. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Put the microphone down a little bit. Say what? Let me try this.
That will make a big difference. Let me turn down the microphone.
Okay, give it a try, and I'll see which one it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down a little bit. Yeah. Can you hear me now? All right. All right. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you heading this up for everyone. Now, I'd like to hear a little bit more about Paul Harris. Bill Traer.
For those of you that missed last week, we're at the point where the first Rotary Club was actually formed in 1905, and they were doing they did a lot of pranks, which is kind of contingent in our club. So those of you may remember when Elvis visited us about 4 years ago. Some of you believe that stuff in the National Enquirer that he was dead. No, he actually showed up and sang to everybody. Turned out it was the president of the club, Dan Roby, back then. So we still have that kind of spirit in the club. So this week we're going forward from the very initial club and starting the second year in 1906. And during this time, Paul took some time off to visit his good friend, George Clark, in Jacksonville, Florida. The Jacksonville Club was one of the very earliest clubs formed. During this holiday, Paul tried to talk George into starting a chapter in Jacksonville, but George was involved in 4 different businesses at the time and had developed into one of the most foremost citizens and business leaders in Jacksonville. He told Paul that he, quote, had too many irons in the fire. Prior to this trip and over the next few years, Paul continued to work on George, who declared that he would not be, quote, stampeded precipitously into a movement which had proved its value in only one city. George believed that Jacksonville was not as metropolitan as Chicago, and was unsure how the Rotary ideas of business exchange and relaxed informal relationships would play out in the tradition-bound South. Paul continued to believe that if Rotary worked in Chicago, it would work in other locations. And this issue does come up a little bit later on about small town versus large cities. Back in Chicago, the Rotary Club of Chicago continued to grow. The club stopped rotating among the various offices of the members by the fall of 1905 due to the sheer size of the group. Instead, they began to gather at a number of hotels or restaurants around town. As with other initial Rotary events, there's uncertainty over the first hotel meeting, where it occurred, and many Chicago hotel events suggested. In early 1906, Paul decided that the club needed a recognizable emblem to bond the membership that helped sponsor its existence. Member Monty Bear submitted a drawing of a plain wagon wheel, said to represent the rotation of the members and to symbolize, quote, civilization and movement. Over the years, the designer made some alteration to it, but it wasn't until 1910, when the Association of Rotary Clubs was established and had their first convention that year, that the design morphed into a 6-spoke gear wheel with the cogs suggesting the meshing of Rotary clubs all working together in a powerful combination. The final modification made in 1923, which is the one we're aware of now, was the addition of a keyhole, which according to engineers made the Rotary wheel a driver or worker instead of an idler. As member Al White became president in January 1906, the club created its first constitution and bylaws. As part of the document, it required tracking, quote, businesses influenced by the membership of this organization. One of the more questionable rules in this initial document required that all principles, rules, bylaws, and business was transacted in secret. These clauses didn't make it into the final documents. They weren't a good idea. There were a number of unofficial policies adopted by members, such as no politician. I think I'm done. This rule was not well enforced, but Rotarians were unequivocal, which we still believe in this day, in their banning of politics or contentious public issues being discussed at meetings. The club did pass petitions supporting or opposing problems like clean water or tariffs, which were thought to be not directly related to the few goals of a Rotary club. Another unwritten rule that Rotary would be non-sectarian. Paul believed that Rotarians of all races, religions, political persuasions, and nationalities were to be accepted without discussion. No member was to be judged, nor would he judge others about their creeds or religious faith. Paul stated, if one must be intolerant, let him be intolerant of intolerance. Wisely, the club adopted a rule that no resolution could be passed unless first presented to the board of directors. This happened after a club member proposed a resolution that it was better to build with lumber than with brick. Within a week, all the brick contractors were irate. The club wisely made sure that would never happen again. You're starting a club from scratch. Among many other unwritten rules was a rule that Rotary meetings should always be conducted in a manner allowing, quote, a lady to attend without blushing. I think that was a very good rule. Next week, we're going to continue with the early traditions and Rotary singing. It was a tradition they did for many years.
Thank you, Bill. Lisa Marie, it's time for the raffle and discussion of our contest for next week. I'll be.
Oh, yes. Awesome. All right, so holiday cheer for anyone who did not get an opportunity to play. Do I have any ticket purchasers before we raffle off the winner? All right. I was going to allow him to dance and sing, but I didn't want him to show us up in our own song, so figured we'd wait for that. All right, I'm going to give our visitor, thank you, here, to pull the winning ticket. No pressure.
Visitor's number.
Oh, goodness. You're supposed to read it too. I think I got it. Hold on. 388 41 5 7. Oh. You can claim your valuable gift here. So anybody that works with kids know that is probably just for your white elephant Christmas party. Which, by the way, I just need to put a couple disclaimers. All right, you want to go on to the, yeah, oh, you want me to hold on that? Okay. With regards to, this came from a very special collection of an anonymous donor, former member, as well as, there was one more fact about this that I wanted to share with you that I just can't remember. Yeah. Mitch was our most valuable participant today, so I just wanted to share that as well. So thank you, and you can collect your gift out the door, unlike John, who's still waiting for his. So anyway, thank you. Thank you.
We'll come back to that.
All right, sounds good.
At this time, I'd like to recognize President-elect Leslie Redd for the purpose of making nominations to next year's board. Leslie.
Thank you, Charlie. I'd like to nominate the following individuals for the board for 23-24, and we will vote next week on this slate. Jay Plotkin, Christy King, Julia Kalinsky, Ryan Maloney, and Ron Patrick. And do I say anything else, Charlie? Okay, great.
Any nominations from the floor?
Oh, do we have any nominations from the floor? Please, everyone.
All right, hearing
Great.
none.
Hearing none, we will take this to a vote next week.
Thank you.
Nominations, my understanding is that nomination period will remain open until the meeting where we take a vote. I'm still learning about all these procedures. Normally, there would be a 30-day period of waiting, but because of the lack of a number of meetings during the December month, we're going to compress it. So if there are any objections to compressing the time period for nominations, please send me an email and we will give you consideration of that matter. All right. Let me see. All right. If you took advantage of the Jaguar tickets, you had the opportunity to see a rare occurrence down at the stadium on Sunday. It was a great, great day. It was exciting. It's been a long time since I've seen the stadium that hot. And, it was just an incredible experience. So that being said, there is one remaining game being sponsored by District 6970 for the January 8th home game against the Tennessee Titans. There are only upper bowl tickets left at $50 a ticket. And a reminder that our club will receive Folio Plus credit for all but $15 of each ticket purchase. So here's how I see it happens, okay? The Colts lost last night, okay? The Titans have to play the Eagles this weekend. That's going to be a loss for them. If that happens, and if we beat Detroit this weekend, all we need to do is to win this division. Because we play the Titans twice. It's a simple thing. The Titans have an incredibly difficult schedule, including 2 games against us, which would give us 2 games up. And if we beat them twice, we will have the tiebreaker. So I remember what happened in '96. It may happen again this year. So buy your tickets to the January 8th game. All right. So if y'all checked your emails this morning, you may have received an email from Rotary Foundation about Gift Giving Tuesday. What an appropriate day for our topic today. What I'm going to do is to recognize Crystal Browan and John Cumby to talk about the Rotary Foundation and listen up. Thank
Good afternoon. So we've not rehearsed this, so we're kind of doing this on the fly here, okay? So I'm the chair of the Rotary Foundation, and my job is to educate you and encourage you to donate to the Rotary Foundation. So is Bill got this up and going? Yes, thank you. So today we're going to talk to you about ways you can make an impact now and in your future. The mission of the Rotary Foundation is to enable all Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the improvement of health and the support of education and the alleviation of poverty. And they do that through raising money and using that money to make a difference in those types of programs. The Rotary Foundation is about $100 million a year business. It is totally independent of Rotary International. It is its own 501(c)(3). It is also a 4-star charity navigating rating. On average, the foundation awards approximately $100 million a year in local district grants and international grants. Its foundation is organized as a public charity, and it's operated exclusively for charitable purposes, and it has its own separate governing board. The Rotary Foundation has received the highest rating of 4 stars as a charity. So, there are 7 different areas that you can focus on in your giving. The number 1 area is under disease, and that's all the efforts we've made internationally to alleviate and get rid of polio. The next area that is high on our list is water and sanitation. If you don't have clean water, you don't have healthy people, you don't have crops, you don't have people working. And so that's at the foundation of helping communities be sustainable and thrive. And then the other areas that we focus on are basic education and literacy, economic and community development, maternal and child health, peace and conflict resolution, as well as in 2021, we added the category of the environment, making a difference in the environment. So in this past week, I received a flyer as a Paul Harris Society member. Any of you who you may have received this, and it tells you all the different areas where money makes an impact. And it's everything from hand washing stations. If you give $150, a hand washing station program, it helps people learn how to use clean water. They train people on how to wash their hands after they use the restroom before they prepare food. So there's also $1,400 power and hand tools that helps ecotourism businesses in Costa Rica. So when these come to your home, you can look at these and see that there's many different ways. And $15 pays for one, polio vaccination. So, or several polio vaccinations. I think it pays for more than one. But, just a small amount of a donation can make a huge difference. The money that they collect from us and others goes to global grants and district grants. So District 6970, who is us, We give around $600,000 a year from all the clubs in our district. Half of that comes back to the district, and the funds are then available for district grants, such as when we helped furnish that cottage at Daniels. The global grants are about, they're around $30,000, and they have to be in more than one of those focused areas. You can be in more than one focused area, but they emphasize that they would like you just to stick in one focused area. There are also global grant scholarships, vocational training teams, as well as Rotary Centers for International Studies in Peace and Conflict Resolution. And then there is polio eradication and the Polio Plus partners, which is a huge goal for Rotary to wipe out polio on an international level. So how can you contribute? Falling behind. How can you contribute? You can give cash through your own club and also through reoccurring gifts through Rotary Direct at myrotary.org. There are, you can do employee matching gifts. You can do IRA mandatory distributions, credit cards, securities. You can set up a trust and give money through your trust. You can give us real estate. You can give life insurance policies. Any way you can think of giving money, you can do it. And that's what John's specialty is, and what he's going to emphasize today is how can you make this happen? The first area where you can make an impact is you can become a Paul Harris Fellow. We all know who Paul Harris was. He was the founder of Rotary. We've heard about him from Bill over the last year. And so the first way to give is giving $25 a quarter. When you pay your dues, you can be billed on your dues statement for $25 a quarter. By the end of the year, you will have given $100. Once you reach the $1,000 level, you are then considered a Paul Harris Fellow. Now you can also, on Giving Tuesday or before the end of the year, write a check for $1,000 to the foundation, and you'll become a Paul Harris Fellow. You can also become a benefactor. The endowment fund as a beneficiary of $1,000 or more in your estate plans. So if you give $1,000 or more and you do it through the endowment fund, you can be a benefactor. There is also individuals who give additional gifts of $1,000 or more. Each time you reach that threshold of $1,000, you get a little pin like this that I have here. And every time you get a little pin, you get another little, some kind of gemstone on there. I'm not sure which, but you can become a Paul Harris Fellow as many times as you want. You can join the Paul Harris Society, in which you agree to contribute $1,000 or more annually to the annual fund, Polio Plus, or one of the approved foundation grants. You can also join the Bequest Society, which is you make a commitment of future gifts of $10,000 or more to the foundation. Keeping up there? No. Okay. Should I do this each time? Or there's also a major donor. So that's an accumulation of donations where you reach 10,000. And each time you reach 10,000, there's another level. So there's 4 levels at the major donor level. And then there's the Arch Clump Society. So when your cumulative donations reach $250,000, you are a member of the Arch Clump Society. So, Rotary Club of Jacksonville. We have 55 Paul Harris Fellows as of Sunday. We have 37 multiple Paul Harris Fellows. We have 5 benefactors, 3 who have joined the Bequest Society, 4 major donors, and total 66 members of the club who are donors to the foundation. We only have 4 people who are not giving even at the minimum level of a quarterly basis. And ironically, those people are all pretty new members, so we need to sit down and talk to them. So you can go on Rotary, the Rotary International website, rotary.org, and you can set up your profile and you can see how much you've given. Each person has, just hold on a minute with that. Each person has a donor history report that they can go on and they can look under their profile as to how much they've given and what is their status. It tells you whether or not you're eligible to be a member of the Paul Harris Society. It tells you if you're a sustaining member. And it breaks it down. So this is mine, and it says that of the giving I've given, 24.38% goes to the annual fund, and 75.62% has gone to Polio Plus. And that's because I give $1,000 every year to Polio Plus. That's my choice. Other people might want to give it to water projects or just give it all to the annual fund. But I made a choice to do that when I joined Rotary. And then you also can have a printout of every single donation that you've given in your lifetime as a Rotarian. So, and then the president and the board of directors all have access to club recognition summary, which lists every current active member and what they've given and what their status is, how close they are to becoming a Paul Harris Fellow at each $25. That's what Ed Booth told me yesterday that he did. When he started, $25 a quarter he gave. And he's now become a Paul Harris Fellow multiple times. I don't think Jason's here, but I think Jason stood up at a meeting at one point in time and talked about how when he first became a Rotarian, he said, well, I could do more than $25 a quarter, I could double it. And he did $50 a quarter. So you can do that too. So another way to try and help you become a Paul Harris Fellow is that the club, you can go, yeah, we have points. So each person, as they give money, they get points also. And those points accumulate over time. So for every dollar donated, 1 point is awarded. And a member with lots of points can donate points to other members to help them become Paul Harris Fellows. A member can also donate points to their children so that their children become Paul Harris Fellows. I think we've seen that happen a few times since I've been a member of this club, where I think it's one of the gentlemen in this club gave his granddaughter a Paul Harris Fellow at one of our meetings. Those points are valid unto death. Once a person dies, the points are not usable. A member can transfer points one time to anyone. Members can combine points with cash. So if we have a member who had given $900 and we want to help them to get to that level, I could give them 100 points, or Charlie could give them 100 points. And then points can be transferred once and do not count towards what's called major donor status. Right now, the Rotary Club of South Jacksonville, we have earned through our giving to the annual fund 5,787 points to give that we have sitting there waiting to give to somebody. We have 2 club members in excess of 20,000 points. We have 2 club members with 11,000 plus points as well. So we have people who are more than willing to help you become a Paul Harris Fellow as long as you prove that you are willing to give, and we'll help you get past the finish line. We've also given points for Paul Harris Fellows to people for outstanding service to the club in the past. So club giving, are we there yet? Okay. We can be considered 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club if all dues paying members are Paul Harris Fellows. We are 4 people away from reaching that status. Then we can also have 100% Paul Harris Society Club if every dues paying member contributes a minimum of $1,000 a year. I don't know how close we're to that, but I'd like to achieve the first status first. So how can you give? And John's going to talk about how you can give in the future and different ways you can structure your giving.
Okay, so one thing that's important to know, and I don't know how many people are aware of this, but our club has its own 501c3. So not only can you contribute to International or the foundation, you can also contribute directly to our club. So today I just want to go over a few ways to really optimize your charitable contributions. First, before I get going, especially with all the attorneys in this room, as a disclaimer, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA. I'm not giving you legal advice or tax advice. I'm simply sharing with you some ideas that we've used with our clients that have worked very successfully. Without going too deep into the woods, I'm about to try to make a 90-minute presentation in less than 10 minutes. So my goal today really is just to pique your interest, leave you guys with a ton of questions, go back to your own advisor, ask, or I'm happy to talk individually with you. So here we go. The most basic way is for those clients that have reached, or those members that have reached an age where you have to take what's called a required minimum distribution out of your IRAs. You have an option. You can take your money, then make a contribution. IRS limits, though, your deductibility to 60% of your adjusted gross income. Or you can take your RMD and have it directly sent to your charitable organization. It bypasses you, so 100% becomes deductible or doesn't ever show up. That's important because, again, if you give 100,000, oh, it's maxed out at 100,000 for those that have giant 401ks. So at 60% limits, you get a $60,000 write-off or a $100,000 write-off. Where it becomes even more important is anybody that is on Medicare. Your income each year affects your Medicare premiums. So if you're taking that RMD and then giving your normal donation, not only are you not getting the full tax benefit, but then you're also running the risk of increasing your own premiums simply by skipping that step. So that's the most basic level. What I really want to talk to is a more powerful way of planning, and it's through using things that are called CRUTs and CRATs and CLUTs and CLATs. Yeah. And this is where we're going to move pretty fast. So the CRUTs and CLATs, which is CRUT, which are charitable remainder trusts. Those are for if you want to set up a trust, you put a major asset in there that eventually you want that charity to get. It's great. The charity, you get to use the asset, use the income while you're living. You pass away, it avoids your estate, it goes to whatever charity you want. So again, the charity doesn't get it till you get your angel wings. What we found is lately, especially over the last 10 years or so, become more powerful with our clients, is they want to see the benefit of what they're giving. They want to enjoy, hey, and it's just like even with their grandchildren, hey, I'm giving my children something now so I can see that enjoyment. And that's where the CLUTs, CLUTs and CLATs come in, CLATs. What these are charitable lead trusts. And so what it is you put a major asset into this trust, typically some highly appreciated stock, income producing real estate, a family owned business. Those are the biggest benefits to go into that. And you say, I'm going to give X amount to this charity over a specific time period. Typically it's 15 to 25 years. You can make them shorter. You can make it your entire lifetime. The general concept, I got an example to go over, but the general concept is you put this asset in there while you're living, the charity gets a percentage. As of right now, this month, it's 5.2% they have to get of the asset value you have to give every year. You get 100% deduction the year you put in. So if you put, in the example, you put a $400,000 rental property in there that you're charging $2,200 a month in rent. That $2,200 a month in rent at a $400,000 value, you're going to get to write off the full $400,000 today. So at a 37% tax bracket, about $150,000 you get to deduct. Today, you can spread it over 5 years if you want to use it. Your charity, though, you're going to be required where if you get that $400,000 credit, you commit to our club, I want to give you $400,000 over the next 25 years. By the rules that are going, you're going to actually wind up giving $520,000 to the club. You're going to have an asset that continues to grow, though, while it's in there. The powerful part is you hold that out of your estate. At the end of the 25 years or at the end of your term, it goes to your heirs, whoever you decided. It's continued to grow. In this example, if you've got a rental property that continues to grow at just say 2.5%, which is pretty modest, and we simply take the excess cash and just put it at a 3%, you're going to have given over 25 years, $520,000 to, in this case, Rotary. And your heirs are going to wind up having an asset worth $997,000 that is no longer taxable. It avoids your gift tax, it avoids inheritance tax, it avoids your exclusion. So it comes out now as capital gains to whoever it winds up going to. So that's more for older clients typically, a little more established. We're doing estate planning in that case. For younger people, high income earners, the opportunity presents itself as almost like a super Roth IRA. You can contribute IRAs, 401ks, you're maxed out at about 60,000, depending on what your age is. With a CLT, you're at 30% of your income. You can make $1 million and put $300,000 a year into this. It immediately comes off of your taxable income. That is a donation now that you've made, but you're only paying out 5.2% of it to the charity each year. That asset continues to grow. At the end of the day, when it comes back out to you at your retirement, you time this timing out, you now have an asset that is about to come out. You don't have to pay ordinary income tax, which your 401k IRAs, when it's time to use, you're paying 37% for every penny that you touch. And that's why we just talked about using the RMDs, where by using this, your money that's coming out now is taxed at long-term capital gains, about 20%. So you're saving 17% taxes over the long haul. You're able to put an infinite amount away as opposed to very limiting amounts into your 401k. In the first example, you committed to giving $400,000 to Rotary. You wound up giving $520,000. You just got the immediate benefit. So again, there's a million questions that it goes much deeper. But at the end of the day, it's a way to optimize your charitable desires while also benefiting from it during your lifetime. So.
Thanks, John.
So those are some areas where you can be thinking in the future through estate planning. And also, as John mentioned, required minimum distributions, as well as through life insurance. How can you learn more? I think, okay. Ask me. There's also a district foundation team. We can have them come as guests and talk to our club. You can also attend the district grant management seminar 1 and 2 if you're interested in doing any type of grant writing and any benefiting our community through any district grants. You can also enroll in a webinar on the Learning Center, which is at Rotary.org. So this is a service that, in summary, this is a service that benefits our community as well as can benefit people on an international level. And you can have a project for a club, or we can join with other clubs throughout the world and help with disaster relief, disease relief, water sustainability, all types of wonderful impacts. And I just want to thank everybody. Please take the time to review your individual giving status at Rotary.org and set up your profile there if you've not done so. I think fewer than 35% of our club has signed up their profiles on Rotary.org. So if you're a newer member or you've been a member for a few years and you've never done that, take the time to do that, and then you can see your level of giving. And then please give at least the minimum of $25 a quarter when you pay your quarterly dues to the Rotary Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal and Jonna. And I know they'll be able to sit around here and ask questions for those of y'all who want to learn a little bit more about the Rotary Foundation. I will tell you one thing that really impressed me when I went to the Rotary International Convention was a presentation of various programs and products, particularly the water programs. Some of these things that they have where they could just take for $10,000, drop a water processing area into an impoverished area that's just done through the sun, and it's just incredible the things that Rotary is doing for people around the world. And so you're giving to the foundation really helps support that, and then also helps us on our local grants when that money comes back to our area. All right. Before I kick off here, I'd like to recognize Les Loggins to talk about our special meeting next week.
If you really want to get into the Christmas spirit, you don't want to miss next week's meeting. We've got Katie Bowling is bringing in her Jacksonville Children's Chorus. And you're going to hear some beautiful Christmas music. And it's just going to be a great presentation with these very young kids. And also, we're going to have a Christmas trivia contest with prizes. So study up this week on your Christmas history. And then we're going to end it all with an ugly sweater contest. Ugly Christmas sweater contest. Some of the children will be the judges, and if you win, you will win a gift certificate to Ruth's Chris House. Whoa! So be sure to get those sweaters out. If the ball falls out, and be sure to attend next week. So we're gonna have a good time. So don't miss it.
Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it. Thank you in advance, Katie. I've seen the chorus sing quite often in various places. Beautiful music, so look forward to it. All right, as we end our meeting, please stand and join me in our four-way test of things we think, say, or do. 1.
Is it true?
2.
Is it fair to all concerned?
3.
Will it be good will and intentions?
4.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Wow.